All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending and viewing this episode of the podcast. My name is Brooks Burnett, owner of Remodel Reach Marketing, and this is the Remodeling Success Podcast, where we interview highly successful remodeling professionals and other thought leaders in the industry, and we try to bring as much value to remodeling contractors as possible. So today we are interviewing Todd Thomas of Todd Thomas Home. Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Yeah, good morning, Brooks.
All right, so Todd is a very successful remodeling contractor. So I wanted to have him on here and just kind of talk about, his business, what's worked for him, kind of the direction of the industry. So Todd, go ahead and explain to us here a little bit of how you got your business started. So just kind of take us over the history of you and your business and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, sure. Well, I've been in construction ever since high school. I started off in concrete, and then I got into wood framing, eventually commercial metal framing, and then remodeling. Um, but I started my company in 2005, and I would describe my humble beginnings as a handyman service that evolved into the company we are today, doing full service renovations and additions and new construction.
Okay. And so you said you've been kind of really you've had your hands in a lot of different industries, right? And
Mhm.
so do you think that that definitely helped you when it comes to remodeling, because remodeling covers a wide range of different niche construction industries. You can be doing just tons of different stuff. So do you think that background really helped you in getting started in the remodeling industry?
Yes, I believe that my background in originating in concrete really gave me literally a ground up understanding of how homes and structures are built, starting with the rough in of the plumbing and the slab foundation work, and then moving on to the framing, which is the next phase. So yeah, I feel like it really gives me a thorough understanding of building from the ground up.
Absolutely. So that sounds good. So kind of tell us a little bit about the business today. Where are you located? Around how many jobs do you like to do per month? It's different for every remodeler. Some like to
Sure,
do, a ton
sure.
of small jobs. Some like to do just a handful of, look more lucrative jobs. So tell us about the business today.
So as far as workload, we typically try to start two jobs every week, and we try to finish two jobs every week. As far as the size, there can be disparity because it's just the way the jobs come in. Could be multiple guest bathrooms. It could be multiple full renovations. It just depends on how they shake out. Um, so there's a wide variety of the types of work we do, but ideally we're trying to start a couple jobs a week.
Okay. And so do you find that that is manageable for you guys? Do y'all really see yourselves moving in a different direction when it comes to the number of jobs? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a comfortable place for us. You know
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
that's what we have the manpower for, and things just seem to click really smoothly at that pace.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about your ideal customer. So, two jobs a week, that's not a lot of jobs. So you've got to have, your ideal customer kind of pinpointed, and it sounds like y'all
Sure.
do. So tell us a little bit about that, your target market, just a little bit about that.
So our ideal customer would be someone that expects and appreciates outstanding customer service and has pride in their home. Homeowners living in their forever home, someone that wants the best. We've been very successful obtaining clients that live beachside. We're very popular in a community here called Vieira Suntree, and you know we we have a lot of pride in the work we do and the experience that we provide our customers. So we're looking for someone that appreciates that and sees the value of what we bring to the table.
So you're not looking for house flippers and one off
No,
jobs, right?
no, we're typically not their contractor,
Yeah.
but we
And so
do.
what?
Sorry, Brooks. I
No, go
was just
ahead.
going
I'm
to say
sorry.
that we're very proud that once we do work for someone, 99% of the time they have us come back to do more work. We have more return customers than any other contractor in the area.
Mhm, mhm. That's great. That's really great. So what does that conversation typically sound like if or kind of walk me through that process if you find someone who's not an ideal customer? Do you refer them to someone else, or what would you have to say to other remodelers that might be facing that issue?
Um, you know, we want to work with everybody, but if we identify a client and we don't feel that we can meet their needs or make them happy, then we we thank them for the opportunity, but suggest that they work with someone else.
Mhm,
So
mhm. Okay. And do you get a good response out of that? Like no one's ever
it's
really mad
it's
at you,
very
correct?
it's very very rare that we have
Yeah.
someone that we have concerns that we're not going to be able to make them happy. But at the end of the
Gotcha.
day, everyone here at Todd Thomas, um, everybody bends over backwards for the client. It's
Mhm.
all about them. It's all about their experience, um, and knowing what we do for them. If we don't feel that we can make them happy and we haven't even started the job yet, then we will typically decline. But again, I could count on one hand in 19 years how many times that's happened. So we're blessed
Mhm.
with great
Mhm.
clients. We have the best clients in the world. We love them. We become family with them, and we're just really fortunate in that realm.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like a great place to be. I talk with numerous remodelers that they have problems with tire kickers. People that call them maybe want their toilet replaced, or they want new flooring or something, but they have a hard time. Um, really finding those clients that want that whole kitchen remodel, that whole bathroom or that basement, whatever it is that they do. And so it's great that y'all definitely have found kind of the right niche and the right type of client to really go after. So that's great. And so what services do you provide for your clients? What's kind of your ideal services?
Um, we provide any and all remodeling and building services. We specialize in kitchens and baths,
Mhm.
full remodels, and outdoor kitchens.
Okay. Yeah, and so I bet that two jobs a week. I bet that's a pretty big load. Even though you're doing not a lot of jobs. So what services do you guys enjoy providing the most, or you personally? I know every remodeler kind of has their own thing that they like. So
Yeah,
what's yours
yeah.
that you like doing?
Kitchens and bathrooms, hands down, are
Hmm.
are preferred types of projects. Um, they're focal points in the home, and we love the opportunity to assist our clients in creating designs that they love and
Hmm.
spaces that they'll get to use and enjoy. And we also uh, sell cabinetry, so any project that we can apply cabinetry to, is ideal.
Right, right. And so are kitchens and bathrooms, do they provide the most profit for you guys, or is it just kind of like what you enjoy doing the most?
It really isn't about the profit as much as it's just it's such a feature in the home. The kitchen and the master bathroom are always such a standout room. That whenever
Hmm.
I go into someone's home, those are the two things that I want to see in their home is their kitchen and their master bath. Um,
Right.
so just to we have so much pride in the work we do. I never get tired of going in and seeing the incredible work that our people do, and
Hmm.
it's just awesome, to create that space and be able to put your name on that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And those those rooms are definitely, like you said, they're kind of the focal point, or aside from like maybe the living room or anything like that, those are the rooms that people spend most of their time in. So that's great. And
Right.
so tell me a little bit. Let's switch gears here and talk a little bit more about your marketing. So when it comes to your leads, you said you could count on your hand, you know, uh, the amount of potential clients that you've had to turn away. So that's a great place to be. And so what is y'all's strategy for qualifying the leads that come in? What does it look like for you? Because every remodeler is different and they do it in their own way. So what does it look like for you when it comes to qualifying leads?
Well, that's a great question, and we've got a retainer process that has been working out really well for us. It took us about 18 years to figure it out, but we feel like we've got a pretty solid process now to eliminate the tire kickers, as you referred to. Once we have provided the initial quote and the client has agreed to the price, we collect a 5% retainer. 5% of the entire cost of the job is collected.
Hmm.
That is non-refundable, but it's also applied to the project. So I've come to your house, I've given you a quote. I said, Brooks, this is what we're looking at. You say,
Hmm.
yes, that's in my budget. So we go ahead and collect that retainer. Um, Once we collect the retainer, then we begin the selections phase of the process. In the past, I would go to your house, I would give you your estimate, and I would send you to make all your selections on tile, lighting, flooring, bathroom fixtures, the whole schmear. Let's go ahead and just get this all figured out up front. And then I give you that quote, and you'd say yes, or you'd say no. This is way out of my budget. Well, we've wasted a lot of people's time that way. So by
Hmm.
doing the retainer, when we send somebody out for selections, the account managers that we use at those vendors, they know that this is a viable opportunity. This person's always already got some skin in the game, and this is most likely going to go to contract.
Hmm.
So that's really done a great job of eliminating tire kickers.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and like you were saying, having that retainer up front really shows you who's genuinely interested and who's not, right? And
Oh,
so that's
absolutely.
something. Yeah, and so that's something that I've heard a lot of remodelers are hesitant with introducing, and maybe it's not something that works for them in their model. But what would you say to kind of move those remodelers that might be kind of like, well, I'm having this problem, but I don't want to have to require an upfront payment, or I'm not quite there yet. So what would you tell them to take the plunge and just kind of implement that?
It's funny. One of the things we do as well is if the client wants a cabinet designer at the estimate, we charge a $250 design fee. And when we originally implemented this idea and started moving forward with it, the girls weren't very confident in asking for that deposit. Now it's second nature. They don't think twice
Mhm.
about it, and people don't mind investing in that. I would say to people that are concerned about it, just start doing it, and as time goes on, you'll be more comfortable asking for it. But
Mhm.
90% of the people we request that deposit from don't have any issue with it, and
Right.
we explain to them what they're going to get for that money. You want to be upfront about what you're providing for that cost.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so just good communication, good being upfront and honest about what they're going to get, and I'm
Right.
sure tying that 5,000, that into the overall project, that does help with easing it a little bit. It's not just you're paying $5,000 and we're just getting that money for coming out, but you're applying it to the overall job, and so it's not going to waste in their eyes, in the customer's eyes. And so
Right.
I think that's something that a lot of other remodelers should should start implementing of some kind, of some kind.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
You should feel comfortable asking for a small investment if they're serious about moving forward. If they're
right,
not if they're not willing to give you a small investment, then are they really serious about the project?
right, right.
But
Yeah, I mean, because
again, you have to provide the expectation of this is what's going to happen after we get the deposit. It's all about setting the expectations and meeting or exceeding them.
right, right. Because one thing I've always said here, in my business is remodeling is different. Remodeling is not, hiring a plumber. It's not, calling an emergency, landscaper or something. It's a relationship, right? And so
Right.
when you find those people that are willing to invest that initial fee, it'll just save from, down the road when you get closer to the time of the project, them backing out, right? And so that sounds like y'all have definitely honed that in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's working for us.
Well, good. So let's talk a little bit about how you're bringing leads in currently. So what what kind of strategies are you using to find these people who are who do meet your standards? So what kind of things are you doing? And you can just kind of list them off. Not
Sure.
asking for
Sure.
anything super in depth.
It's pretty simple. Our leads come from internet ads, social media ads, client referrals, and word of mouth is our main source of advertising, and those are the best. That's the best advertising you can get is from a friend or a neighbor.
Hmm.
We put yard signs up when we're working on a project. We get a lot of calls. Hey, I saw your sign and really love your logo, and would like to get a quote. Um,
Right.
we've got a pretty amazing logo that people seem to really like. I've had the
Hmm.
guys in the work trucks get stopped by passerbys just to tell them they love the logo, so that's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's where we get most of our work from.
Yeah. So it seems like a lot of remodelers that have been in the game for a long time, they fall into two categories when it comes to advertising. And so one thing that I see a lot is remodelers that focus primarily on referrals. And,
Okay.
being in the remodeling industry and not needing a whole lot of jobs, that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a
No,
bad thing,
no, it's a great thing.
right. And, referrals are consistently across all businesses, industries, the most reliable when it comes to moving down the pipeline and actually becoming a customer. And so what at one point, or at what point in your business have you kind of shifted? What was there ever a time when you guys focused solely on, just relying on referrals, or have you always had this, hey, we've got to put our name out there kind of mindset?
Well, when I was starting off, and it was just myself, and then myself and a helper. It doesn't take a lot of jobs to book you out 6 months to a year. So, when you're a one man band, you, you know, a handful of jobs can stretch out a lot further than, the size of the company that we've become. So,
Hmm.
because of our growth, it has required us to obtain more leads and be able to sell more work. So, it really just completely based on the size of the company and the amount of work that you're trying to keep up with.
Hmm. Hmm. And so at what point would you say you kind of felt the need to start either advertising or trying other forms of marketing? Was it, hiring a certain amount of people, or at what point do you think you said, okay, we need to start doing some
You know,
outreach?
it's been a 19-year journey, so nothing has happened overnight.
Right.
It's all been very gradual and one thing at a time. Um, you know, in today's age, if you don't have an online presence, you really don't exist. So I would say we we had our website built. You know, I had a website that I put together that was good enough for what it needed to be, which was basically a platform to um, showcase our photos of our jobs. And
Mm.
um, eventually, we needed something that was more polished and reflected the professionalism of Todd Thomas Home. So I want to say we had that built maybe 5 years ago,
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
it's worked out really well. And that's when we really started digging into the SEO and
Hmm.
everything that goes along with that.
Right, right. Okay, well, good. So when it comes to bringing in those leads, you're getting leads that are coming in now, that aren't just referral based. What does the process look like initially for you guys whenever a new lead comes in, and let's say they call or they submit a contact form saying that they're interested? What does that like? What are the next steps for you and for your business?
So, depending on how they reach out to us, we have a form on our website that they can fill out. We also have leads come to us through Builder Trend. But regardless of how they come in, we reach out to them. We find out what is convenient for them as far as scheduling. We schedule the appointment for the estimator to go out. If there are cabinet needs, we request the cabinet design deposit and let them know what they'll receive for that.
Hmm.
And then we go out and quote the job, and we try to have an estimate back to them within a week. And if they say yes, if they like what the quote looks like, the estimator will do a second visit just to double check and make sure he didn't miss anything. And then once we double check the estimate, look at the house again, then we'll request the retainer once we've firmed
Mm.
everything up.
Okay, so the retainer gets requested pretty far down the line, potentially, right?
Right. So, like I said, we'll typically do two visits to the house, and then we'll
Hmm.
go to retainer. Once we
Hmm.
go to retainer, they begin their selections process. Once they've got their selections made, we schedule a pre-contract meeting to where when I say we, that'll be the estimator and designer, if applicable, and then myself or my general manager and my project manager, we all go visit the house, so we can put a second set of eyes on it, make sure we've captured everything, make sure the homeowner understands everything that we're doing.
Hmm.
We uh, take measurements again for the tile or flooring or cabinetry, just to make sure
Hmm.
the measurements are accurate. And then we collect the deposit and get everything ordered and get the job started.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like y'all are very y'all are. I'm trying to find the right word. Y'all are very articulate, or particular when it comes to the measurements and making sure everything is done right the first time. Is that am I hitting the nail on the head there?
That's right. That's right. It wasn't always like that, and that's why we have the system in place that we do now. You learn from your mistakes.
Right.
We've had to order a cabinet or two because we didn't have accurate numbers. So it's
Hmm.
worth taking that time to get that second set of measurements to compare.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody wants to have. Uh, we don't want to run short on tile when we're doing a bathroom, and we don't. The customer doesn't want to have 5 or 6 boxes left over that they didn't have to purchase.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, man. I redid my kitchen, and that tile is not cheap. Yeah.
no, no, it's not. People get upset when there's a ton left over. So
Right. Right. Well,
we make
good.
sure
And
that they know.
all of this really, I feel like it can just help fuel that referral machine that y'all have. I mean, having people go to their neighbors and say, oh wow, Todd Thomas, they were so good, and they made sure everything was done right, and they measured a bunch, but it was worth it in the end. Like it all works together. I feel like. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And we've only talked about the front end, what the process looks like up until the job start. Once the
Mm-hmm.
job starts, they've been given access to our Builder Trend software so they can see their schedule online. They've been given a dedicated superintendent that's in touch with them daily, letting them know what's going to happen. The
Mm-hmm.
guys that show up always show up on time, and they always clean up after themselves at the end of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
I get so many compliments about how polite and considerate everyone was that went to their house.
Mm-hmm.
So we put just as much focus on the duration of the project and the customer's experience there that we do on the front end and getting the job sold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what I know it varies, but on average, how long does your typical kitchen and bathroom last? Could it be 1 to 3 months, or just kind of give us a ballpark of your typical job duration?
Sure, sure. A bathroom is typically going to take about 6 weeks. That may sound like a long time to some people. The reality is, we typically get a bathroom done around 4 weeks, and then we have to wait a
Mm,
couple weeks for glass, which we
mm,
can't measure for until all the tile is finished.
ah,
Um, a kitchen, 6 to 8 weeks.
mhm,
A full home renovation, you're looking at usually somewhere closer to 12 to 16 weeks,
mhm, mhm.
depending on the scope, of course.
Right, right. Do you ever get any pushback on those times, or are generally most people
Not really.
accommodating?
Not really, because we're pretty upfront about the schedule. Right off the bat, we've already
Hmm.
got the schedule created before the job's even started,
Right.
um, and we've given them a start date and a tentative completion date. Um, so they know what they're getting into right off the bat, and if they have needs or concerns about when the job will be finished, say they want it done before the holidays or whatever the case may be, they communicate that to us, up front so that we can schedule the job accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it sounds like the really the theme of your business is just transparency and
Absolutely.
just making sure that the customer is completely aware of what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and any other potential you know things that can add on some time. And would you say that's kind of what y'all are going for?
Absolutely. It's all about expectations, Brooks, whether it's a business transaction or a relationship, everything in life is about expectations. And
Hmm.
as soon as you realize you can't meet an expectation that you set, you have to reach out and let the person know, hey, this is what's going on. This is the new expectation, and meet or exceed it.
Hmm. Hmm. And so that really kind of ties into my last couple of questions here. So like to that owner of a remodeling company that is maybe they're stuck at maybe 500,000 a year, and they're trying to kind of either double or just grow their business, land more jobs with the right customer. What would you say to them? Just any tips or anything that you could say to them to help them out when it comes to that.
Well, the first thing I'll say is more money, more problems. But no, my advice is to never let your growth surpass the quality of your work. When it comes to growth, baby steps. Baby steps, take a small step, but never take a step so large that it affects the quality of your work because your reputation is everything.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Especially, when you're in this industry that you're in, and people are inviting others to come and take a look at their new bathroom, their new kitchen, and so that's very important. That's very important. So, any last minute kind of nuggets of information or any wisdom that you'd like to share with us today?
Um, again, your reputation is everything. Always give your clients the benefit of the doubt. The customer's always right. Um, and you know, we've gotten into some sticky situations, and my philosophy is always, um, what's our reputation worth? You know, maybe we lost a little
Mhm.
money on this or that or the other, but what's the value of our reputation? Certainly more than a
Right.
few hundred or even a few $1,000s.
Right. Right. And you know, it's a big ask. You know, at the end of the day, it's a big ask for your customers, because you're going to be in their homes, potentially, almost every day for up to 2 months, right? And
Yeah,
so, having all your systems in place that you've got, and having that care and taking that time, that extra time, really goes a long way, I feel like.
well,
um
no matter how perfectly the job goes, no matter how well everything flows, the reality is when you're in someone's home, you're taking them out of their routine, right? No matter how polite or considerate you are, it's still an inconvenience to have people in the home. And
mhm,
because we're aware of that, we do everything we can to minimize any additional stress by being there on time, setting and meeting those expectations, cleaning the house up at the end of the day, keeping the house organized while we're in there
mhm.
working, and covering and protecting things. Um, you know, no matter what, the customer's going to feel a little stress having people in their home. You just can't prevent that. So what you
Mhm.
can prevent is any additional unnecessary stress, and that's what we focus on.
Right, right. Focusing on what you can control, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, all right. Well, Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us here and sharing your thoughts and your wisdom with some other remodeling contractors. And thank you for watching and attending here. And we will see you guys in the next one. So again, my name is Brooks Burnett, owner of Remodel Reach Marketing, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Brooks.